Hello and welcome to Happy Through the Holidays. For those of you listening to the replay, we're sad that you couldn't be with us live, but we are happy that you are here now. We did our check in off camera. So if you do need any support or a loving ear, please reach out. I'm available for you to connect with. You're not alone this holiday season. You have a whole community here supporting you. Tonight, I want to teach you a little grounding exercise that's really good to use, especially if you're a trauma survivor or you have situations where you just feel like you got super triggered, you want to run, maybe you had a fight with a loved one, or maybe there's a family member that drinks too much and it triggers you. There's so many things, right, that can happen where we like leave our body, we check out, we're like, I can't handle this anymore. And this is an exercise that my midwife taught me, and I love to use essential oils with it because it's all about tapping into the senses to bring yourself back into your body and to help yourself realize that you're safe. So, this can really come into play, especially if you are out and about at a family function or a holiday party and you kind of find yourself just in freeze mode. Maybe you're in a conversation that you don't want to be in, and this will help you get out of that freeze and back into your body so that you can make the right decision for yourself. This is a reminder to all of us and everyone that you can always leave a party. You can always leave a dinner. You can always leave a room. You can always leave a conversation. You do not have to stay in any situation that makes you uncomfortable. And sometimes we just need to like get back into our body and our thinking brain and out of our reptile brain so that we can make the right choice for us. So, what you do is you start cycling through your different senses. And let's just do this right now. I want you to first take an essential oil because we have that. Close your eyes and really experience the aroma. I've got wild orange. And you can even say in your head, I smell oranges. I smell citrus. I smell bright sunshine. That's the first sense. Just take a few moments to really smell your aroma. The next thing you're going to do, and it's great because you'll have that oil on you, is you're going to hug yourself and you're going to feel your body. You can actually say, I feel like I'm touching my knees. I feel my knees right now. I feel my shoulders right now. I feel my belly right now. I feel my face right now. I feel my ears right now. I feel my hair right now. I feel my feet right now. And then you open your eyes and you look around your room and you say to yourself, I see the speaker, I see the computer, I see the light, I see a chair over there, I see the white carpet, I see my oils. And you just cycle through the room and you say to yourself what you see. This is all about bringing you back into the present moment. And then you're going to do your ears, what you're hearing. What do you hear right now? I hear the lights buzzing. I hear the computer humming. So take a few moments and presence what you're hearing right now. And I don't know about you. I'd love to hear in the chat. My whole body's buzzing now. Like I'm in my body. I am here. I am present. I'm in my body. And that's it. It's a really simple exercise for you to do. And as empaths, which I'm sure a lot of us are, and healers, it's kind of a good thing to do whenever you walk into a new space and a new room. And anytime you leave somebody else's space so that you can just recollect your own energy, let go of their own energy and be present. So yay, we have such a treat tonight. We are going to hear from a very dear friend of mine. She's known me since I was 9 years old, and I am 47 now. And she's been a great friend and a great guide when it comes to health and wellness. Her name is Dr. Vivian Engelensen. She has a master's degree in herbology, and she is a doctor of Chinese medicine. And what's so great about Vivian as it pertains to all of us is she has done intensive studies into essential oils, especially the clinical application of essential oils. She teaches classes and courses and works with her students to really get to the root cause of what's ailing them. And she combines Chinese medicine, essential oils, and herbs to address these issues. And tonight, Vivian's going to be talking to us about avoiding depression through the holidays. So, oh, and I was building her bio and I was like, "Oh, Vivian has 40 years of experience in clinical practice. Like, this is a wisdom keeper we're about to hear from. You rarely get the opportunity to sit with a healer of with this much experience and this much mastery. So I encourage you to take in her wisdom, take notes, and let's just send her like a ton of gratitude and appreciation that she is going to teach us tonight. I'll let you take it away, Vivian.
Hi, everybody. It's an honor to be here with all of you today. And first of all, I just want to say that sometimes all of that experience can get in your way if you don't get out of your head. And sometimes being innocent and not knowing anything can be more to your advantage because you don't cloud your experience with a lot of intellectual stuff. So I just want to say that so nobody ever has to feel like they're not good enough or they don't know enough, or it's kind of like with Erin, the way she started the conversation today was with a grounding exercise. And in a sense, it's just sort of reminding everybody that you just have to be present. And then a lot of times, just with the oils, they speak to you and you don't have to study them. They let you know. They let you know where to put them. They let you know what they're for, just by being present. So I just wanted to say that. You can start with the first slide, Erin. We're just going to talk about the best we can using oils to get through the holidays and have it be your happy support place. Next slide. I love that slide or picture that doTERRA created, the ditch and switch, because, I'm sure most of us are used to all the toxic chemical candles being around us. And now we have another choice of using these beautiful, natural, health promoting oils to create a really lovely environment. And I want to focus on how the Chinese medical paradigm fits into the understanding of how the flow of qi can affect our mood and how we can use that understanding to achieve our greatest health and in our body, mind, and spirit during the holidays. Next slide, please. Hi. Do you have the next slide up, or is this?
It's coming. Everybody wanted to
Oh,
see your
okay.
face.
All right. That's okay. I don't know. I did though, because these statistics are so amazing. I just wanted to do like this little overview of how liver functions are described in Western medicine, because it's hard to wrap your mind around it. I think we're all pretty familiar with the liver filtering toxic substances from our bloodstream, but 100 gallons per day of blood, I mean, is pretty amazing and allows vital nutrients to go to your cells. I mean, my brain doesn't really even know how to hold that. And then the next one produces more than 13,000 crucial chemicals and hormones, including cholesterol, testosterone, and estrogen, manages more than 50,000 enzymes to keep your body strong, regulates your blood sugar. A lot of people don't know this. They usually will think of the pancreas, stores essential vitamins and minerals such as A, D, K, and B12. And very important, produces bile because we need that for our fat digestion, and helps to carry waste away in the intestine. All right, next slide. Aren't those statistics amazing? I mean, it's a blow mind. Okay, this is an image of the basics of what Chinese medicine is based on. We have 5 elements, which are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And I don't know how well you can see it in the slide, but I did type it on the left side there. On the inside of the circle, you will see what are called the yin organs, and they are the vital organs. And on the outside of the circle are the yang organs, or the hollow organs, and are kind of more like the holding or eliminative organs. So for fire, we have heart, small intestine; earth, spleen, stomach; metal, lung, and colon; water is kidney and bladder; and wood is liver and gallbladder. And we're going to focus on the wood element in our talk today. Next slide, please. And we're going to talk about the functions of the liver from a Chinese medical perspective. Next slide. The main thing in terms of a takeaway is I want you to understand sort of the unseen function of energy of the liver function. And each organ has an unseen energy function. We kind of know what it does, but it can't be measured per se by Western medicine. And one of these things is in the liver is maintaining our harmonious flow of qi. This is something we can definitely feel. And I like using the symbol of the infinity sign, because I always feel like there's a harmonious flow of qi that really looks like the infinity sign in terms of qi flowing smoothly in the body. And on a simplistic level, to kind of understand what we do instinctively sometimes just to feel better, is it's like, oh, I got to go take a walk, or I'm going to go to the gym. I just need to move my body and will feel better. I mean, there's other reasons that are involved, like just being in the sunshine and deep breathing oxygen, all that thing, all those types of things. But in relationship to the liver qi, a lot of times we're just sitting behind the computer, our qi won't move and it gets stuck. Stuck qi is a manifestation that can feel like in our body a pressure building like a balloon blowing up. And it literally can kind of feel like this pressure. So at first, it will feel like a pressure building, and then at its height, just like a balloon will break and explode. Well, the same thing can happen with liver qi, where at first the manifestation will kind of be inward pressure that's kind of like depression, and the external manifestation is a blow up like anger. And so then you can see how that direction of chi, when the chi kind of releases from the liver, pressure creates a heat, and heat rises. So generally, when we get an aberrant chi that manifests or has its orientation in the liver, the heat will rise in that energy, and it will either traverse into the heart, which can create anxiety and insomnia, or it can traverse into the gallbladder meridian, which is the paired organ of the liver. And you'll often see that in the tightness in the gallbladder meridian that runs up your shoulders and neck. We've all experienced that. Or all the way around to the top of your head and creates a migraine or a headache. That's all an orientation from the liver. Another aspect of it, if the liver's stuck, you will get a situation where your valves won't open properly from the stomach into the intestine, and sometimes it can create acid reflux, or when the liver chi's stuck, the bile will be too thick, and then you won't digest fat properly. Next slide, please. So I tried to kind of pick a couple of slides that show the transition between sort of the lower slide, kind of showing that inward of the liver depression, chi stagnation, and then the second slide where he's got kind of steam blowing out of his ears is the manifestation of where it's kind of transitioning into fire that's rising up into his head. And what comes next is he's either going to leave the room and go scream outside, or he's going to yell at somebody. I'm not going to read all these. I mostly, a lot of times, do PowerPoints for myself, so I don't get too off topic, but I'm going to just explain in my own words what each topic mentions. And the first one is discomfort along the right side of the body or the ribs. And this is basically relating to how you will actually sometimes feel that pressure in the liver when the chi is building up there. And a lot of times people will come in and they'll mention they kind of will have a dull aching pain there. It can manifest to that point. Mood swings and frequent sighing. What's really interesting about the frequent sighing, I don't know if you've ever experienced it in yourself or you've been around people that are always sighing. What that actually is, it's like an instinctual effect of the body wanting to take a breath to push the diaphragm down to massage the liver to get the chi flowing. I think that is the most amazing, wonderful thing, but it's often a question I'll ask a patient. Do you find yourself taking deep breaths a lot or sighing a lot? And they'll go, yeah, I really have. And that's what that's from. Mood swings like PMS, doesn't have to be PMS, but a lot of times when the chi is stuck, it will create that build up, and then you'll, have an extreme mood and then you'll cry and release it, and that kind of thing can happen a lot when the chi is stuck. Anger, we've already talked about. It's the manifestation of the extreme buildup and the balloon bursting. Menstrual irregularities are tied into the next slide I'm going to show. So I'm going to explain that further in the next slide. Digestive imbalances has a lot to do with the relationship to the production and release of bile. And you can see a lot of times if the liver isn't clear, the bile's not going to, it's sort of like myrrh. When your bile isn't running smoothly, it gets sticky and clogged up, and to the point at which, people can actually have liver or gallbladder stones. One thing I want to say about the unrestricted flow of chi, I think the most common perfect examples of this are watching a child out in public, where a child, I'll notice this in a grocery store or a bank or something, where you have to stand in line, and mother or fathers with their children, and the kids are dancing and twirling around and singing. They don't know that they're supposed to hold their chi in and restrict their chi. And so that we learn to do that as an adult because it's not appropriate. And little by little, we learn like, oh, you can't do that. We can't do that. And so liver depression, chi stagnation is actually a very common thing because we don't, for the most part, dance around the house, or, we lost that as children. And I think that's why we feel better when we do things where we're not defined in our movement or singing or all that sort of thing. And another example would be a puppy. They're just crazy. They have so much chi, it's all restricted and wonderful. If you could bottle that, you'd be a billionaire. Anyway, next slide, please. This is a really fascinating thing about explaining the smooth flow of chi and the circulating blood. One of the sayings in Chinese medicine is where the chi flows, the blood flows. So the liver is a pretty large organ, and it stores the blood, and then it allows, releases the blood into circulation. And if that chi is stuck and it's releasing the blood in a choppy way, that's what will cause PMS, cramping, clotting, all of those manifestations of an uncomfortable period. Next slide. And there's other aspects of it, but I thought that was one people could relate to. Another thing in terms of a relationship to chi and the liver is how it controls the tendons, and then the end of the tendons are the nails. But you will see, like, if there's a deficiency of chi and blood and yin in the liver, tendons will have a tendency to dry up. And you'll see that, like, as people get older, their tendons seem to get shrivel and tight, and they're less limber and that sort of thing. And so being limber and not having inflamed tendons is a good sign of a healthy, nourished liver. Next slide, please. And then the opening to the eye. And I'm sure everybody's seen this. Probably if someone has drank a lot of alcohol or done a lot of medications or drugs, their eyes will have a tendency to be red. That's because there's a channel that goes from the liver into the eyes, and there's an inflammatory process then that will show up in the eyes. Floaters can be a indication of a toxic liver. And, I always think of when someone has hepatitis or something like that, you'll have a tendency to have yellow in the eye. Next slide, please. This is a wonderful acupuncture point. It does all the things that you want it to do in terms of harmonizing the chi. It's pretty easy to find if you just use your thumb and travel it up from in between your big toe and second toe, in between the bones there. It will kind of just fall into that depression. And that measurement that you see on the lower diagram where it says 1.5 to 2 chun, that's a Chinese measurement. And that measurement is the measurement of like the width of your thumb knuckle, or like your index finger, middle finger, like 1.5. But don't worry about that. You don't have to get that technical. You'll kind of be able to just feel that point. And here's the thing, you're applying oils, so you're going to be applying them to a broad area anyway, maybe the size of a quarter or even larger, so you won't miss it. But anyway, so the indications for using this point is going to adjust that liver qi stagnation so the qi flows smoothly. And it also can regulate the flow of the liver blood. I use this point on almost everybody that I work on. If I don't, it's only because I'm using that next point up, which is liver 2, which is the fire point. And if they're really on fire, I'll use that one instead. Nourishes liver yin, calms excess liver yang. So the yang would be kind of indicated with insomnia, or if you get headaches, or that anytime you're feeling that excess up in the head, that would be also the liver fire. Wind is indicated where in a sort of another stage of the liver qi going uncontrolled is dizziness, like it will cycle up and then swirl, and that's will manifest in dizziness. This point can be very calming and opening to all the channels. It's a good point for pain. It can be used for spasm, and clears dampness. Dampness can be sometimes, if you will see, well, people can be too damp if their stools are too loose, or sometimes loss of appetite. We're not going to get into that much more than that at this point. Next slide. So peppermint oil, I love peppermint oil. It's really my go-to oil, really, when that liver qi is kind of turned into liver fire and it ends up in my head. I'm always going to grab peppermint oil to put on the back of my neck or forehead. I just love that oil for that. And it's my favorite oil to put on my forehead. It's refreshing, it's cooling. It's a great oil to wake you up. It's a great oil to settle your stomach. I don't know. It's just one of my, I don't go anywhere without it. You're always going to find a bottle of peppermint oil in my purse and at every place that I frequent in my house. So there's peppermint oil right here at my table. I have one by my bed. I have one in my car. I have one in my purse. It's just a go-to oil for me. And because it works so well to disperse that kind of hot chi that is moving up from the liver, I love that. Next slide, please. We went backwards and backwards. Balance. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube video that Dr. Hill did. If you haven't, it's worth going to YouTube and just type in Dr. Hill and balance oil. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Erin, but the story goes that Dr. Hill, I think your mom told me this part, that Dr. Hill ate a donut and then he went to the lab and they did his, took a little bit of his blood with dark field microscopy.
I think it was more than just a donut. Like he had been
what was it?
He was like traveling and not sleeping well and eating bad. And I think he made a joke about like he had a donut for breakfast or something. So it was a whole lot of stress and not good nutrition.
Yeah. All of it not good. So he gets a blood sample using dark field microscopy, and that the sample A is what his blood looked like. So he puts balance on the bottoms of his feet. I think it was only like 1 or 2 drops. It wasn't a whole lot. Is that correct?
Yeah,
one drop. One drop.
Yeah, one drop on the bottom of his foot.
And within 30 seconds, his blood cells are oxygenated and moving. And I saw that and I went, oh my God. So I use every patient that comes in. One of the first things I'll do before I put the needles in is I put balance oil on their feet. I mean, when I saw that, I thought, well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you start your day doing that every day? I mean, to me, and I would like to see that done with every oil blend. You know what I mean? That would be so amazing. So I don't know. Balance is harmony in a bottle, supreme. Next slide, please. Wild orange. I love wild orange. Really, to me, it is sunshine in a bottle. I use I use wild orange, I think, in totality more internally than any other oil I use. And it's partially because before doTERRA got to be a bigger company with a lot of the, internal soft gels. It didn't, in the beginning, it didn't have any of those. And I found at that time I was going through kind of a hard time in my life. And so I had a lot of acid reflux and just my stomach just wasn't doing well at all. And I would put like, a whole capsule of wild orange, which I know they don't recommend, but my body wanted it. And I could take that on an empty stomach or after a meal if my stomach wasn't happy, and it kind of changed my life. It really is an amazing digestant. In Chinese medicine, actually, orange peel is a Chinese herb. It's called Qianpi. And so anyway, that makes sense because it's all, it comes from the peel. I think an interesting thing about wild orange or any of the citrus oils really is they increase the level of glutathione in the body, which is a really important antioxidant that is only manufactured in the body. It has a lot of important indications, including the repair, synthesis, and repair of DNA. Um, Enhances the activity of vitamin C, transport of amino acids, detoxification of harmful compounds necessary for phase one detoxification, and um, just a mechanism for which toxins are neutralized. I crave wild orange. I love it. Every time I smell it, it makes me feel good. And I have I'm just going to do a little aside. You can reel me back in if I get too far off here, but when I used to travel to LA once a month after I moved up here, well, even during my practice in LA, the oil I would consistently diffuse in my office was wild orange. And I heard over and over again, every time a patient would come into the office, they'd go, God, the minute I step through the door here, I feel better. That's how, and I thought, well, wow, that makes my job easy. But that's how powerful and just diffusing an oil can be. Next slide, please. Adaptive. Now, doTERRA doesn't say antidepressant in the bottle, but that's how I remember. I nickname my oils, and I call adaptive the antidepressant in the bottle. And it's kind of what it is and what it does. Like all the reasons people take antidepressants is why you would use adaptive. And what I love, because one of the best things you can do um, is be in water. If there's something about being in water that can change and shift a mood, or not feeling well, or there's so many things about taking a bath that can make you feel better. And it's tricky doing um, essential oils in a bath unless you know how to make them disperse, because if you just put essential oils in a bath, they just float on the top. um, you have to know how to mix them with Epsom salts and all that stuff. But anyway, otherwise you can just get adaptive bath oil. You don't have to think. And who wants to think when you're upset or whatever? You just want to pour something in the tub. And I love that about adaptive. And I don't think I want to say anything more about that. It's just your antidepressant in the bottle. Next slide, please. Cheer. I call this one happiness in a bottle. Now, I have found this particular oil to be especially effective, I don't know, with deep-seated grief, and which a lot of times can be focalized maybe more in the heart or the lungs, but I think sometimes any of the emotions, whether it's, you know, depression and sadness and grief can sort of all fluctuate around. It won't stay in one emotion. It will kind of fluctuate even into anger sometimes. Um, but I find this to be a really soft, comforting kind of oil, um, in a way that there's just, like maybe what I would equate it to is a gentle hand on your back offering you comfort. I think of cheer in that way. I like using this oil on the heart, wrists, because there's heart points there, the back of the neck, temples, just to help lift the mood. Next slide, please. Serenity. What an amazing oil. I'll tell you, I am addicted to that stick right now. When I'm laying in bed at night, I actually even put that under my nose because I like how it smells so much, and the Serenity stick makes the scent really linger, and I love putting it on my hands. It's actually kind of my favorite sort of perfume right now. But anyway, this I think is the most important oil for that really extreme, like where you really need to sedate that chi and calm it down, because not, you also have the soft gels. You can take the soft gels. It really smooths the chi. You've got a lot of oils in there, like chamomile, and cedar wood is I think the highest oil in sesquiterpenes, that really, it's so good for the brain. And vetiver, I always remember this story that Little Shepherd always tells about her grandchildren asking her to put the dirt on their feet at night because they thought vetiver smelled like dirt. And so she'd always use vetiver with the kids, and the kids loved it. So it's got like every essential oil in it that is really calming. And then in the soft gels, they added the tart cherry, which I love because tart cherry, aside from it being calming, it's also a really good oil substance for clearing the liver and breaking up lactic acid and all kinds of stuff like that. Anyway, I love applying this to my heart, my wrists, back, my neck, temples. I love it under my nose and the bottoms of my feet. Next slide. And diffusing it. I diffuse it at night by my bed. Northern Escape. I think they call the new, the other oils that just came out, Forest in a
Shinrin
Bottle.
Yoku.
Yeah. But I still call this one Forest in the Bottle because that's what it is pretty much. And unless you've had a really traumatic experience in a forest, pretty much everybody feels better when they're amongst the trees. I mean, walking amongst the redwoods, really, it's hard for that not to be a spiritual experience. There's so much essential oil that's wafting in the air, and the energy, it just permeates right through your body, the power of those trees. And I find that, the power of opening up a bottle and smelling the essence of kind of the spiritual aspect of the trees is so profound. So I find this to be one of those kind of oils where maybe where you're seeking like that little added spiritual experience of the trees. Like I'll go to an oil like this, or one of the oils, well, obviously frankincense or myrrh and those kinds of oils, but there's something about the trees that really do it for me. Anytime I diffuse tree oils in my home, it's so potent. I love putting a blend like this on in my laundry, or using it as a surface cleaner and diffusing it. Next slide, please. I just added this because, during the holidays, I got to tell you that the MetaPower soft gels, gum, and oil. I think for me personally, I will admit it. I feel like I've been a sugar junkie all my life. I When I was a kid, we ate sugar 6 times a day, and it hasn't. I really feel like when the MetaPower system came out, I lost my sugar craving. I don't crave sugar anymore, and that's a blow mind to me. That's huge. And I think a lot of that had to do with the oil sustaining my blood sugar. But when I would crave something sweet, I would just put a piece of that gum in my mouth, and that totally worked. So anyway, I can't recommend those enough for the sugar cycle or eliminating the sugar cycle. Terrazyme. I could not live without Terrazyme, especially through the holidays. I don't even try not to eat all the stuff. I'm with my family. I'm surrounded by it. Not craving sugar, but I probably will eat sugar cookies and cinnamon rolls and all of it. And I will. And on my ride home on the plane, I'll be going, oh my God, I can't believe I ate all that. But Terrazyme does help. And also the Zenochrome products, just to keep things moving. Adding lemon oil in your water really helps, and geranium oil over your liver. Next slide. And I just want to wish everyone happy holidays. And if there's any questions, I'll do my best to answer. Am I calling the Serenity Stick by the wrong name? That's what I call it. It's a
Yes, Serenity Stick.
Yeah,
They
okay.
they did add valerian to it.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yeah.
there's a new ingredient there. So I just want to honor that we're at 6 o'clock. So of course, if anybody has to go, please, we won't be offended. But just want to make sure, are there any questions that you have for Vivian before we close up for tonight?
I'll answer that question about Citrus Bliss. Same benefits. I would say the same benefits in terms of diffusing and applying topically. Citrus Bliss is actually my favorite bathroom oil. Internal, though, I would probably go with just the plain wild orange.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, oh, I have a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much. That was like, I'm so excited about moving my liver chi.
Yeah, make friends with that darn liver.
Is there, with all of that stuff you just shared, like the acupressure point, applying the oils, is there like a sequence you would go to with those things, all those things that you just shared, like the first thing you would do when you're noticing symptoms, the next thing, or is it just like do any of it and all of it?
I don't really go sequentially too much, but I will say this. If the chi is all stuck up here, you could benefit by starting at your feet to start pulling it down. So like using balance on your feet or something grounding like that to pull it down can be helpful, to just kind of to get the chi to start circulating that way, if that makes sense. But also, when you're sometimes I won't do that. Not, if I've got a headache and my forehead's hot, I just go for the peppermint and it's going right there. And I get immediate relief from that. So I think there can be guidelines, but then there's just in the moment, grab what's there and it'll probably work, you know? But I appreciate your question. I do teach a class where I teach some sequential stuff, but even that, I pretty much will change things around. I have a tendency not to be too rigid about things.
I find it interesting, Vivian, because when I was getting off of drugs and alcohol and like really trying to get my body back into balance, I craved peppermint like crazy. I would probably ingest almost a bottle a month just by like putting it on my tongue throughout the day. So I'm sure that helped me. I always wonder, like, how in the world did I get off of drugs without like going into rehab? And it's the oils. I know it's the oils.
Totally. I mean, you were the drugs affected your microbiome, and so they were affecting all your neurotransmitters and everything else, and you had the best things from nature to do all that stuff, to start making your own neurotransmitters, to stimulate all of those natural things, you know, assistance. I need a calming assistance from nature. I need this support from nature. It's all there. You know, they got the idea for drugs from nature. You know, they all make it synthetically now, but you know, all the idea of medication all came from nature originally. And then, you know, well, I could go into a whole tangent about what happened, so we won't go there,
Oh, yeah.
but
Well, we're gonna close up and let everybody go off to their evening. Thank you so much for this great talk, Vivian. I really appreciate it. And everybody, the recording will be up on the Jasmine and Juniper YouTube channel, hopefully tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow morning. And next week, we are going to hear from Lori. And we're so lucky here in this community because we have so many brilliant, talented healers. Lori is another doctor of Chinese medicine, although she has retired and stopped her, not retired, she's stopped her practice because now she has created the heart-centered boundaries method. She helps women address patterns of people pleasing and overgiving so they can experience more freedom and joy while simultaneously creating more fulfilling and deeply connected relationships. So don't we all need that? Lori's going to be here next Wednesday, same time, same place, to talk to us about healthy boundaries through the holidays. And she, of course, will be bringing practices, essential oils into it. It's going to be experiential. And I wanted to give you a heads up about that so that you can invite people. It's going to be a great session. So until next week, I hope everybody has a happy and healthy holiday season. And I look forward to connecting more. Bye, everyone.
bye-bye, Erin.